change my mind. Leave me crying all the time. Oh, I can't say it's a long, long way to go. Since you've been around, you changed my mind.
Hey everyone, it's Katie and Mike. Say hi, Mike.
Hey everybody.
So we just got out of Inside Out, which is the new Pixar movie. After like, how long? What did they do one last year? Maybe that was Cars 2.
Maybe that was Cars 2.
No, Cars 2 was way before that. I don't think they did one last year. You know, we had heard a lot of really good stuff. It looked good. It has a great cast, and we really liked it. Right?
Yes, it was excellent.
I mean, should we talk about the elephant in the room as far as like the one thing that we didn't like about it more than anything?
I don't know what that is right now.
The guy behind us.
Ah, that!
Because I gotta tell you, you know, I try really hard to like, you know, immerse myself in the movie, try not to get too annoyed by the people around me. Last week at Jurassic World, we had some kids in front of us, but they kind of shut up after a while, so like, okay, they were kind of annoying, but that was, you know, that. This guy, I think we're gonna have to go see this movie again so I can actually fully enjoy it, because he made me not enjoy this movie as much simply by existing in the theater. Do you want to try to describe this guy?
I don't think, from what you built up, I think you've got to say it for yourself.
He was like, he starts off by going, like, in the middle of the credits, going, you know, I don't really like Pixar that much anymore. I'm like, and the first thing I was like, why are you so loud? And also, why are you here if that's how you feel about Pixar? And every time, like, he basically was narrating the movie. Oh, those are the memories, and the memories are dropping. Yes, I can see. If you are with a blind person, I wish you would have told the rest of us so that we can...
Oh, she changed the memory to be depressing.
Yeah, oh no! Oh, she's gonna be put into a corner because no one likes her. We don't like you! So, like, you know, the feeling of anger is played by Lewis Black in this movie. Like, that's his character. You know, this movie is about feelings, is about emotions in this little girl, and their emotions personified in people. And the character of anger is played by Lewis Black. And the one thing I will say about that guy is somehow he helped me immerse into the movie, because I could actually hear my own little Lewis Black in my head, but like this close to turning around and telling him to shut the hell up. I was so mad.
Hey, that's the curse word we know.
Yeah. I really liked this movie, but that guy drove me nuts. And it was like, it wasn't just when he was talking, but it was also when he wasn't talking, because I was always anticipating him saying something terrible. It was a horrible experience. And when we started...
Oh, it's a clown.
Oh, look, it's a clown. Yes, we know that's a clown. And after he left during the credits, we heard the people directly behind us complaining about him, and I turned around and said, so I'm not crazy for wanting to tell him to shut up. And they went, no, he was crazy. I was like, oh, by the way, hello, other moviegoers. I'm glad we were able to connect, random stranger, to our severe dislike of this other random stranger that was right behind us. So anyway, that was part of the experience, and I am really mad about that. And I kind of want to go see this movie again without that guy behind us. So I'm hoping that if we can go again, I would like to go again.
Yeah. I was too late to get the refills on the popcorn and drink.
Oh, that's why you went out.
Yeah, I went because I was thirsty again. And so I was like, oh, I'll go get the refills. And
so you miss a little bit.
I missed a tiny bit.
And it was kind of an emotional moment that you kind of missed, a little one.
I figured out what was going on. I mean, it's not like you kind of figure out what's going on in the Pixar movie.
So, yeah, that was something that I saw in a review that someone pointed out. You know, the basic setup of this movie is essentially Toy Story. As far as like plot points and like a very specific character who feels like they need to be leading and in control, and someone that throws them off their base, and then they go on an adventure and they and it's really tense, and it revolves around them trying to take care of a child.
It's very Toy Story-esque, but there is one difference that I can tell you immediately right now that isn't in this movie that you pointed out.
What?
There's no villain.
Yes. Even though, like, with Toy Story...
Sid.
There's a side... I know, but he's like a B villain. He's like the side villain. He's not... It's not like it's the main villain. But yeah, this is... Something about this movie, and we'll get into the plot, which I really liked, is that there's no villain in this movie. All the characters all make mistakes. And some of them make mistakes simply out... It wasn't even like that they were... making mistakes off the bat. It was that they tried everything, nothing worked, and they got desperate, which I thought was really good. So the basic idea is that there are five, right? Five key emotions, which is joy, sadness, disgust, fear, and anger. And this little girl Riley has all of them, and joy happens to be the one that's kind of holding, because she has a good life. She has, you know, her family and and so most of her I hate this because it's a pretty intricate world building that they did, which I appreciated. There's a lot of mechanics to it though, and I don't know if I remember them all. So I'm going to try to explain this really quick without getting too much into. So there are lots and lots and lots of memories, like memories made every single day, and most of Riley's are happy. But most of the feelings the character of Joy feels have purpose. Obviously she has purpose because she keeps the little girl happy. Disgust saves them from poison, both literally and socially, which I thought was funny. But like the idea that like she says no to things sometimes when, you know, when she doesn't like something. And then anger, which is there, you know, as to protect her, and of course fear, to keep her safe. But Joy doesn't really get the point of sadness, because all that does is the exact opposite of what Joy does. So to her, it's always sadness ruins Joy's work. And things are pretty good for a while until the family moves, and suddenly it's a lot harder for Riley to be happy. And pretty immediately things start to go a little wrong, and sadness ends up coming in and trying to help things, but only makes things worse. It makes Riley sad, and the stress of all these changes come to a head. And well, and then, all right, again, I gotta get into the world building. The essential thing is that there are, how many core memories? They talk about this like 12 times.
There were 5 at the start, at the point where they moved to San Francisco.
Yeah, okay. So there are 5, but the idea is that there are 5.
But it's expandable.
And
because it started off with 1, and then it became 2, and
well, yeah, but then like the most that there can be is 5 once you get into being like a rational thinking human being outside of baby.
I don't think there was the most 5, because if you could tell at the end.
That's spoilers. So and like each of the memories is connected to like a zone that kind of houses her personality. So like one of the big things is hockey. One of the big things is
family, honesty.
Family. One of them's honesty. One of them is silliness, and the other one is friends. And things are crumbling really fast. And part of it is that the core memories that like powers all those areas get lost, along with joy and sadness, and they get lost in the long-term memories, which is just this big maze, and they have to try to get back to the main room. So in their place is sadness, anger, and disgust, who are trying really hard to take Joy's place and but they're being filled, like, it's just sadness, or just fear, disgust, and anger that are doing all the work. So she's getting into fights, and she has a lot of anxieties, and she gets grounded at one point. And so it's about basically a little girl having an emotional breakdown, while the character of Joy is slowly learning basically that her whole worldview is not quite what she thinks it is. So what I like about it, one, the designs are amazing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of great art in this, but it's very Pixar-esque art, because I mean, you kind of expect it, but it looks like a Pixar movie.
Yeah, but I also like the fact that the textures in this movie are really good. All of the emotions have this like kind of fuzzy, almost yarn texture. Not exactly, but it's kind of, it has a fabric-like texture to it.
And a glow, too.
Yeah, a glow and like a little bit of a wisp. A little bit of wispiness, like in the joints, like the arm joints. So it makes it a really visually interesting movie throughout. Really lots of colors, and they use color in a lot of good ways because they do each represent the different emotions. So it's really easy to process what things are happening and how the main character's feeling and all that stuff. I'm trying to think of things beyond that. Well, okay, there is another character that pops in while they're in the maze, who is the imaginary friend of Riley, who's kind of gotten lost along the way because Riley she's 11 in this, right? Yeah, 11. So I got it. Richard Kind plays the imaginary friend named Bing Bong. And you know, you don't think you're going to get emotional about a Richard Kind character, and then you totally do in a way that like you totally don't expect. I was really worried they were going to make him the bad guy, but he is actually very endearing. And just in general, his character is, I was glad that they ended up, I thought that they were going to drop him. I thought that he was actually going to like try to use the memories in order to like, yeah, exactly, and be like, I'm going to rule over I was kind of worried about that they needed a villain, which is, like I said, and maybe a spoiler, but I don't think it's much of one. There is no villain in this movie. Everybody's trying to do their best. And sometimes that's what it is, you know, and I could appreciate the fact that they didn't try to force in a literal villain. What it is just really fallible characters trying to do their best for their job. So I really appreciated that, because it felt at the end like it was a much more satisfying ending, because it was about them figuring things out and things coming into place. So let's talk about the cast. Basically, if you've missed Parks and Recreation, this was essentially Amy Poehler doing Leslie Knope, right?
I wouldn't call it that.
There were definitely elements of Leslie Knope.
There's definitely elements, but I think it's like if you just took Leslie Knope's happiness and only her on that one track.
And her control issues.
Yes.
And her control issues. So, but that's like a good portion of the Leslie Knope character.
Yeah, but I don't think that's all of the Leslie
I know,
Knope
but
character.
it was just like, if you're missing that particular character, there's a lot of her kind of putting that sort of energy into it, which I really liked. And her character, like, she moves like Amy Poehler moves. You know what I mean? They really personify all 5 of the emotions for Riley were all chosen really well for the cast, and their character
animated really well.
Yeah. Oh my God, Lewis Black's anger is just Lewis Black. Can you at least acknowledge that?
I would say so, but Lewis Black also does not have a giant, like, flaming tower coming out of his
You don't
head.
know that. That could happen any day now.
Any day.
I do love him yelling about San Franciscans, because that is so him. And him always wanting to use the swear words. We know one! We know one! Can we just use it now?
It's a good one.
It's a good one! Bill Hader is the one that's like the least...
Fear.
Yeah, he's Fear, and he's probably the one that's the least, you know, his emotion.
He's played for laughs a lot.
Yeah, no, and he did a really good job. Because there's a part where he has to kind of oversee the dreams, and he is critiquing the dreams, like, oh, great. You guys aren't even, like, because it's like a first day of school dream. He's like, oh, let me guess, the pants are they're like, we went to school with no pants. Oh my God, she doesn't have any pants on. He goes, oh my God, like, you guys are amateurs. This is nothing. This isn't scary, this is just annoying.
That may be the most confusing thing you've told people about this movie, because people will have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so there's a section of her memories.
So outside in like long-term memory, there's a dream studio in Imagination Land.
You see it in the trailer.
That creates dreams.
So it's like a movie theater. So they're showing, like, they're playing this, they're recording these other figment brain things. They kind of look like beans, but they keep them they keep the other characters really simple. But they but these little beans
put on stage shows to
one of
create dreams.
Each of the different emotions takes turns to keeping watching the dreams. So so apparently Bill Hader's fear is just used to this, and he's like, oh great, you guys are going with the first day of school thing again. You guys are going.
I'm not wearing pants. Great.
Yeah. Oh great, the teeth falling out. Yawn. And then, like, stuff had happened with the other character where they were trying to get Riley to wake up for a specific reason. So they try to do it by making her happy. So they pretend to be a dog and bounce into the scene. And Bill Hader's character's like, well, this is new. He's so confused. And then I really also like Mindy Kaling's disgust. Like, she was actually really adorable, because I was really worried that she would just be like, she would be completely annoying. But the fact is that she does care. She doesn't hate on Joy or anything. In fact, when Joy leaves, she's one of the first people to go, we need to figure this out. We need to pretend to be Joy because we need Joy back. And so, because Riley needs to be happy. So
they did a great job with all the characters that weren't Joy and Sadness, showing why each one is also important without the whole, like, giant story of learning why they're important.
Yeah,
because that's the whole point of the movie with Sadness, is learning why Sadness is important. And the other emotions, you really see it come out when they're gone. But they also, early on, I think they built it up early too.
Yeah, there's a sense that, like, oh yeah, they do have purpose. Do you want to get into spoilers? Because at this point, I'm trying
avoid spoilers as much as possible.
I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I'll say this much: definitely go see it. Like, I honestly think that this is one of those movies that if you are at all a Pixar fan, which I mean, and like if you're a fan of like the really good Pixar movies, I think you probably want to see this movie. I thought that it was done really well. There are I have a few little things, but very little. I'm definitely going to watch it again. And I am also, I will say this much, bring tissues, because you're probably going to cry. Like, I'm just saying, you're going to get a little verklempt.
And if you don't bring tissues, just grab the napkins.
Yes, we always grab a ton of napkins because we always get popcorn. And so I was like, dab, please, guy behind me, stop saying stuff and ruining the moment. And somehow he did shut up for most of it, but I was just like, oh God, that guy was the worst. But yeah, you will get emotional at this because there's some really good, and it's weird because it's not at the stuff I thought it would be. There are a few things where I'm like, I cannot believe this is the part I'm crying at, but I'm totally crying about this. So, I'm trying to think what else.
It's an excellent movie. Probably one of the best Pixar has done in a long time.
And it does a really good job of talking about how, because I mean, this part of this is actually depression. Even though like sadness is gone, it's about the kind of depression where you shut down, which is a valid way that, you know what I mean. So as far as like, I don't know if it's really it's
a mental breakdown of a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And I don't know, and it makes sense even if you are not considering that there are anthropomorphic feelings inside her brain doing stuff. Even if you just see it from her outside, it makes total sense because she has some major life changes and she's not processing them well. Like that's a legitimate way that someone like that, like a little girl, would deal with that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that felt very real to me. And what I liked about this movie, and it's kind of the lesson of it, and again, I don't think it's going into spoilers, but the way they resolve, like, well, why is sadness here, is that without joy and sadness, she starts to shut down. She feels really numb. They make a point of where she feels like her personalities are literally shutting down. Like those sections, those zones of her personality start to crumble and fall into like the abyss that where things get forgotten. And so when she's having this breakdown, she starts to lose parts of her personality. She feels numb. She can't process things. Like the train of thought literally gets derailed. There is a train of thought. It's a pun, and it gets derailed. Which, by the way, I noticed, and I was like, I see what you're doing there, movie. Really hope they get that fixed. But what the movie's lesson is, which I think is a good one, is that you need to be able to process sadness. It's not about like being sad all the time, because you should have joy and you should keep fear in mind. You know, you should allow yourself to get angry sometimes, and you know, disgust is not you know what I mean? Like all those emotions are valid. And with sadness, it really is about processing it and you know, being able to process it in a healthy way along with all your other emotions, which I thought was a pretty sophisticated lesson for the movie.
Yes.
That was just my feeling on it. And this was something that I thought was interesting, and this was what the review said, is that in the parents' minds, you see them middle of the movie, like early middle, before, like, end of the first act, and the maybe it wasn't the end, beginning of the second act, sorry, because this was after joy and sadness disappear. But they're at the dinner table, and the parents, in the feelings in their own heads, are trying to talk to Riley. And the mom, the person that's in the middle, the one leading the discussion, is actually sadness. Her sadness. Did you notice that?
Yes.
So, and that was what the review said, was like, keep an eye on which characters in each person's head is the one that's at the control. And for the mom, it was actually sadness, which was kind of a clue that was going to be the message, that like sadness can be a valid core part
of someone's personality
in the way that, you know, where you balance it. So yeah, that's basically the message. So if you're cool with that message, that idea of being able to process your sadness in a healthy way, go see this movie, because that's basically...
Speaking about the different emotions to different people, mm-hmm. This is one of the things I thought about from the trailers, because you could see it in the trailers.
I know what you're going to say.
But I really like the idea that, you know, with the father, you know, all of his emotions are male. With the mother, all of her emotions are female. And with some of the other Tetrare characters, they're all like that too. But with Riley, there's a gender mix in her head. Here's the thing.
I would like that if they actually had her be genderqueer. I don't think that that's what they were trying to say, and
True, they're trying to keep the cast not a full female cast, so they're trying to mix things up.
That's my problem, though. I would have actually liked it better if if they had actually had all of the different emotions be represented by different genders within everybody's heads. I actually found it kind of frustrating that they all...
I think you can take it both ways.
I don't know. It just felt like, oh, this is how a girl brain looks. This is how a guy's brain looks.
True. That does come up, but I don't know. I'm on
the fence about it. It just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like a weird choice when they already were going to have, like, they were going to have the little girl, unless they were pretty explicit about it. And I don't feel like in a Disney movie they'd be explicit about her gender orientation.
True.
You know what I mean? I don't think they would go there. I think they could go there. I think that would be really interesting. I don't think they did.
I don't think they made it as a choice that direction. But I think it was a very interesting call to have the gender mixed Riley and also then have, the single gendered different heads.
Yeah, I just, maybe it just bothers me because they played up some tropes with the dad that kind of annoyed me, the dad and the mom
they play up tropes a lot with the rest of the primary cast, like the outside of Riley's head cast.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was just, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. That was actually the part that I found kind of annoying. Should we get into spoilers, though? Because
I want to start.
All right. Spoilers! So, I don't know where to start. There's so much. So, I mean, so the basic focus of the movie is Joy accepting the fact that sadness has a place, both that she is as a character actually has a lot of good ideas and a lot of things, she thinks about things in a way that Joy doesn't. But there was a lot of essentially the message of the movie is emotions aren't just one thing. Like, there are, when you get into becoming an adult, and I think that they highly implied that this is that a version of this journey happens to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That things become your brain becomes more complex as you grow, especially at that time. Like, your brain is still growing. How you process your emotions are still growing. So it makes sense that around the time she's 11 or 12, suddenly, like, those emotions inside her start to understand that things are more complex than what they thought it was.
I really wonder how long Pixar thought about this idea.
I gotta think it's a long time.
Because I really want... Because one of the things I would think about if I were thinking about this movie is that maybe there are emotions that come out as you age. Like a new emotion, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like what they tried to do is not complicated like that, but instead go, okay, let's say that all the emotions that we feel are some mixture of what these 5 are. And that was kind of what happened. So, like, for a lot of the sad memories, it's not that they were just sad. It was that they were sad, but then that sadness allowed for Joy to come in at the end and be able to, again, process it so that it can be something healthy and she can be happy. So, like, towards the end, she tries to run away, and luckily Sadness and Joy get there just in time, and Sadness is able to kind of snap her out of her numbness, and she realizes that she's sad and wants to go home. And it's only then that she can actually break down and cry and tell her parents what's wrong, and when they comfort her, that's where Joy comes in. And it's that memory, that ball memory is a mixture of sad, but sadness. Yeah. And so at the end, when things are starting to wrap up in the story, you see a lot of these balls of memory that have mixtures of, like, there's one of disgust and fear. There's, you know what I mean? And And I was thinking about that too, because I was like, well, a lot of times you're sad and angry at the same time. Like, those are things that happen. So, so the idea is that, and there were a lot of times in the movie where Joy tries to force happiness on Riley, and also on other characters, because the imaginary friend is kind of used as a pseudo example of how Joy sometimes is not
sincere.
Yeah, like, so there's a part where the imaginary friend is sad because he realizes that his time with Riley is truly up, because he's been kind of just hiding in the background, but he kind of had hope that he'd find her again, and he kind of realizes, oh wait, she's too old for me now, I'm never going to be able to play with her anymore. And Joy tries to cheer him up by being silly and making jokes and trying to tickle him, and it's not working. And Sadness talks to him and empathizes. In fact, I think she says the word, I empathized with him. And he's able to cry, and then he feels better after it. So he's kind of the example of, oh right, because once you can deal with that sadness,
you can move past it.
Yeah, or you can at least not control it. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's been a long day, so the fact that I'm still saying words is kind of impressive to me. Oh, it's been a long week. So we start to see, though, that the imaginary friend is used very much to show that. Also, I know we'd already talked about the design stuff, but the abstract thought was one of the most awesome things Pixar has done, right?
I really want to see this movie in 3D just to see that.
Well, how about the next time?
Next time maybe we do see it in 3D.
The abstract thought scene was amazing. It was like Pixar doing their most, like, it was like a little short, one of their short films in the middle of the movie. It was so good. And again, I'm pretty sure the guy behind us was talking during it, and I was like, oh, they're flat now, and I was like, oh my god, shut up! I was so mad. I'm looking here to see who else. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping around a lot. Diane Lane played the mom, she was so good, but Kyle MacLachlan played the dad. Would you like to know who Kyle MacLachlan is?
Let's inform the people who don't know.
Damn fine cup of coffee. Twin Peaks. And he's also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He plays Sky's dad. Oh.
I was playing that up.
You're mean. But I was really happy. I was like, oh, Kyle MacLachlan, you were great.
Oh, you did an excellent job.
Yay.
I think they also, the voices of the mother and the father, I think they played all of their emotions too. I think Riley's the only one that has different people voicing different emotions.
I am looking. Frank Oz played subconscious guard Dave. Oh wait, no, those were the subconsciouses.
Yeah, those were the guys that guarding the gate of the subconscious that had that thing about my hat.
John Ratzenberger, who you know is in every Pixar movie, played Fritz, who I think was just one of the random bean guys. Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers / Back to the Future 2 played Mind Worker Cop Jake, who, if you remember, had the great kids won't get this joke. All right, so there is a part of it there's a part of the Imagination Land that is made of clouds, and there's a part where they're running through it, and one of the characters blows away another character. And then later on, they run through it again, and two cops are interviewing the cloud's wife, and the light is like, "That's who did it. They were the ones who
They were with the guy who blew away my husband."
And then they like stomp over her, and he's like, "Hey!" And one of the cops like, "Hey, you can't do that!" And the other cop, or maybe it was a detective, I forget what they were dressed like, but goes, "Forget it, Jake. It's Cloud Town." And I think I chortled, because I was just like, how did you get a Chinatown reference in? That is the most un-kid referenceable movie. No one. The kids will not get it. And it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But I still laughed. And I knew, as soon as he said, forget it, Jake, I was just like, oh my God.
It's Clown
It's
Town.
Clown Town. I'm trying to think who else. There were a lot of people. I recognized a lot of people as there. Oh, Rashida Jones played the cool girl's emotions at the end.
You realized they entirely built and had that bit with Cloud Town just so they could do a Cloud Town joke.
I know, but Mike,
Rashida Jones
played the cool girl.
Yeah.
Remember at the end? Yeah, that was so at the end they show all the different people that you kind of saw throughout the movie. Like there was a bus driver, there was the cool girl who had like the streak in her hair. There was a dog, which you learn that dogs mostly just
think about food.
Just think about food.
And eating food.
Yeah, and there was the cat, and the cats were just kind of like the cat's emotions were cats, and they were just walking around, except for like the fear part, which just started to walk on.
It's council.
On the council, and then suddenly the cat just started freaking out for no reason.
Just saw a dog, so that's why he got freaked out.
So
although a cat probably is not paying attention.
Or you see a boy that sees Riley is just freaking out. Ah, girl!
Red alert!
Red alert! Red alert! And he's just staring at her, like mystified at the girl. But Rashida Jones is great because she's like, oh, whatever. And then you see her, you zoom into her head, and all of her emotions go, oh God, I'm so fake. I can't. Calm yourself. You have color in your hair. You're wearing mascara. It's fake mascara. I'm just happy because Rashida Jones was in Amy Poehler's movie. Yay! Parks and Rec.
Yay.
Yay! Alright, I'm trying to think we missed... It's hard. I'm trying to think if we missed anything. Okay, the mother's different feelings and stuff, those were actually different characters. Different actresses.
Voices?
Yep.
Really?
Jess Harnell was additional voices. I don't know if... I'm looking to see if there are anyone else. Yeah, they were all different voices, and I could kind of hear it. I
really thought they were going to all be played by the same person.
Yeah, I was surprised too, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of made sense to me.
Well, I mean, you can make sense of it, but I mean, like, But
I think it's impressive that they all sounded like they all had that same character
voice.
Yeah, I really liked how they did the mom subconscious, except for the whole like Romando or whatever the hot Latin guy who she daydreamed about. I was just like, really? Okay. And I saw it in the trailer, so I knew it was coming, but it was just kind of annoying. Most of this was really, really lovely, and it's so sophisticated. There are a lot of good ideas. I think most of them, the message in general is very solid, and it's in a way that, again, most kids' movies would not go. But the idea that, like, trying to force yourself to be happy and not dealing with
your problems.
Yeah, with not dealing with the problems that you have is, it's not a good thing. And so it's like, oh yeah, you need to be able to process them. I keep saying process, but it's a good word to describe kind of the message of the movie. And be able to do it in a way that benefits you. Because pushing down sadness or trying to pretend like it doesn't exist isn't helpful either.
Yeah. So,
really good movie. Definitely go see it. I think we can try seeing it in 3D and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to say?
Not really. It's an excellent movie. Just go see it. There's not much more you can say.
I'm looking. Oh wait, I know. Because of spoilers, yeah, the imaginary friend dies. We totally forgot to talk about this, and I cried. That was the part where I cried because they fall into the pit. Joy and
sadness.
No, not sadness.
Or Joy and Bing Bong.
And Bing Bong, which again, it's like Bing Bong, no, and I was just like, why am I sobbing at these lines of dialogue? I did not think I'd be sobbing at the lines of Bing Bong, no, but they fall into the pit, and basically if you stay in there for too long, and it doesn't take long, you start to disappear. Like, you start to disappear for good. And they're able to use his discarded rocket, which is just
It's a little
wagon.
red wagon.
Yeah, but they have to sing because this was actually connected well. Yeah, the other one, the whole like sadness, knowing the manual was so like, oh, I see exactly where this is going, because like, oh, that's why Joy keeps sadness around, because she knows the manual. So but they set up the wagon really well, because I didn't see that coming until towards the part where they fall in. But they try a few times to get up using the wagon. It's not working, and Bing Bong, right?
Bing Bong.
Says like, oh yeah, keep singing, and he's already losing part of himself, and you see the moment where it registers what he has to do, so he ends up pushing her by like getting out of the wagon, and she only realizes it after she gets to the top, and he's calling down to her, up to her from below, and saying, good job, you gotta save Riley, and he says goodbye, and tears down my face. It was so... Because, like, they set up the character really well so that you do care about him. And he does make this big sacrifice. And it's really sad. And Joy has already been through a lot that day. And she's dealing with it. And, like, her heart's breaking. So it's one of those things where you really do... it hurts your heart. Which I think is part of... the whole point of the movie is to feel emotion. So I just wanted to make sure that we got to that, because it's like the spoileriest thing in this movie.
Yes.
I can't think of anything else now, though. I can't either. Go see the movie. That's all we'll say. If we have more to say, we'll talk about it in the podcast.
Perfect boyfriend looks like...
That was
Twilight
hilarious.
guy.
No, and then later, did you hear the end? Because I was like hitting your... At the end when they were talking... All right. Oh, shoot. I forgot to say. So one of the things I like, and they set it up, is that the parents have their console all like a much larger console. And so it's totally setting up the idea that when you get older, you actually have a bigger console. Which we should have caught. And then I realized that after they built it up, and I was like, oh, they all have a place at it, and they're all able to, like, the emotional maturity, you're all able to be at the table at the same time, controlling that specific part. So that was so brilliant, because I did not realize that I did not realize the difference between the two kinds of headspaces until the end. But, oh God, what was I going to say? Oh, so the joke, though. So the idea is that with the mixture of the different memories, the core memories and the things that... Apparently there are more core memories, because her personality does develop past...
core memories.
Past 5 core memories. And so there are a bunch of different, like, zones that she goes, and they're talking about, like, yeah, good job on, friendship. I'm really glad of what was it? Like, respectful disagreement or something? Do you remember?
Friendly argument?
Friendly argument, I think. And disgust was like, mm-hmm. But the best one...
but they set it up throughout the whole movie, because if you remember when at the beginning of the movie, it's just, the console is just one button.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was so smart, because it really does say, like, emotions and how people develop is more complicated than just, like, one or I can't talk. Where, like, one memory is only one emotion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, anyway, so one of the zones... So they're talking about the different zones that they like now. And Sadness goes, I really like the gothic vampire romance novel. And I think I laughed so hard. I was like, oh, God, Sadness is bringing in Twilight. That's amazing. But yeah, there was a part that you see when they go through Imagination Land, and it was a new section called Imaginary Boyfriend, and you see him on an assembly line, and he's just like, I would die for you, Riley. And Joy is just like, what the hell? It was so dumb. Also, kind of dark considering she ends up using him as a ladder, and apparently at least a few of those imaginary boyfriends just fall to their doom. I'm like, are they conscious? Are they actual
No.
thinking beings? Because if that's true, that is dark. We just saw an imaginary friend fall into the abyss and get basically killed, and now we're seeing like 12 of them go.
It was a massacre. But it's okay.
Anyway, so yeah, it was, like I said, I want to watch it again without the annoying guy behind us, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick up a lot more. I'm able to fully enjoy myself in a way that I couldn't, but it was so good, and I liked it a lot, and you'll probably want to go see it, and I'm really, really tired. This is like, I don't know, it's like 1 o'clock or something. It's 1:10! And I've been up for hours. I've been up since like 7:30 in the morning, so it's time for me to go. Mike, you got any closing remarks?
No.
No. Katie, Mike, justplainsomething.com, and we'll see you later.
All the time, oh, I can't tell you. It's a long, long way to go.